In last week's episode, with questions and answers, several questions revolved around getting an agent or a manager or none of the above. Now, I have done many podios on how to get a representative, but not with these specific questions. Do you need an agent? Do you need a manager? Do you need a representative at all? What's the big deal? We'll dive into this important subject, and by the end of today's episode, you will be able to decide the best choice for your career. In this episode of Casting Actors Cast, agent or manager, what's the big deal? Well, hello and welcome to today's episode of Casting Actors Cast. I'm casting director Jeffrey Dreisbach with McCorkle Casting in New York City. How are you? I hope you're having a good day. I'm excited about this episode today because really getting into the nitty-gritty of the differences and the realities about agents, managers, or no representative to help you at all. We're going to kind of suss that out to the best of our ability on today's episode. But first, this is that moment of the podcast where I get to say thank you so much for tuning in. The response for the podios, the podcast videos, have been excellent. I encourage you to go check out the website, castingactorscast, all one word, .com. There you're going to find past episodes, but also if you fill out that form, right on the landing page that says dive into the talent pool, you're going to see some freebies. That's all I can tell you. They're just free. One is a 100-page book, a 100-page book on doing voiceover work called Conversation Pieces Out of the Studio, the Voiceover Workshop for Professional Actors. It's a really great workshop manual that you're going to find for voiceover work. It's absolutely free. You can download the PDF very easily. If you want the real deal book, then you can go ahead and you can click on the icon and you can get it from Amazon if you want to pay for it. That's cool. I don't mind, but you can get it for free. Also, there is a free video, a casting director secrets, what they don't want you to know, but I'm going to tell you in this 20-minute video, again, free of charge. My hope is that you'll get excited and you'll stay excited about joining Casting Actors Cast, giving me your name and your email address. By the way, I don't do anything with that other than an occasional item of interest that I think that might be helpful for you. But that's the only thing that I do with that information. So joining this network of like-minded individuals trying to get better and make sense of this crazy business we're in, especially now during the COVID resurgence that we're experiencing and all kinds of, confusion about the future. This is a place where I'm going to give you the straight poop. I'm going to give you the information that I believe is going to be most helpful for you and your acting career. So now let me just take a moment and let you know that the following video is basically there as a reciprocity, agreement between those folks that are promoting this podio on their website and media, and I am obligated, happily so, to do the same. So check this out. I'll be right back. This episode of Casting Actors Cast would not be possible without the following cross-promotional shout-outs. Actors Connection. Please do yourself a favor and check out Actors Connection. They provide classes, seminars, workshops with working industry professionals to help you advance your acting career. Go to actorsconnection.com/New York for their current calendar of amazing classes, workshops, and events. WeAudition.com. WeAudition.com is the video chat community to audition, self-tape, rehearse, and get expert industry advice. Find a rehearsal or self-tape partner instantly. Earn money for rehearsing with other actors. And as a special incentive to Casting Actors Cast listeners, you will receive 25% off membership using the code CAC25. That's CAC25 for a membership discount. weaudition.com. Acting and Voice Studios. I am excited to share that Acting and Voice Studios will provide top quality acting training for film and television to actors all around the world. Check out my bi-monthly blog posts on their website while learning more about classes for adults and young people, including voiceover and acting demo production. Go to actingandvoicestudios.com. Are you interested in honing your voiceover skills? My good friend and voice talent Philip Galinsky is running yourvostudio.com. Coaching the creative process for voiceover artists is their passion. So go to yourvostudio, all one word, .com for more information. Thanks, Philip. Now, other places in addition to the ones I've just mentioned that I am teaching at include the Growing Studio and T. Schreiber Studio. So I ask you to go ahead and please visit their websites as well. And check out the schedule at castingactorscast.com/classes workshops. And I hope that we can work together soon. So let's get into the subject at hand, shall we? Let's first talk about agencies. Agencies, and I don't want to insult your intelligence here. I know that you know a lot about what the agent is all about, but let me just kind of clarify a few, here's a good word, salient, wow, where did that come from? Points about how an agent works. I'm sure you all know that the agent is there to help you find job opportunities. That's true. But also you should know that the agent gets 10% of what you make as an actor from that agency helping you obtain the job. So let's talk a little bit further about how an agency works. First, you should know that a legitimate agent is franchised by the unions, SAG-AFTRA and Actors Equity Association. That means that they follow the rules and regulations set forth by the unions. So if you are meeting with an agent and they are not signatories of SAG-AFTRA or Equity, that means that although they call themselves agents, they're not agents, they're managers. And we'll talk about that difference in a second. But being franchised by the union means that those agencies are abiding by the rules and regulations set forth by those unions. So in terms of payment, in terms of offering protections and pay scale, all of those things they abide by. And that's what makes an agency legitimate. Legitimate in the sense of they're not just there to take your money or to sell you stuff. They're there to help you find and submit you for job opportunities. And for that work, you give them 10% of that job. Make sense? So they're franchised by the unions. Now, you should know that their agencies come in various sizes, and the various sizes of these agencies all have distinct advantages and disadvantages. There are the boutique agencies, which are the very, very small agencies, maybe 3 or 4 people working in that agency. Then there's the mid-range agency, and those mid-range agencies can have anywhere from 7 to 20 agents working within that mid-range agency delineation. And the difference can be quite apparent, right? A smaller agency definitely has advantages because you're getting a slightly more personal attention. The downside of those boutique agencies is they're not getting all of the calls from all of the casting directors looking for talent. So sometimes the boutique agencies are really great for entry level or newcomers to the business and not necessarily great for long-term relationships. Now, even those small boutique agents would tell you that. The idea is just out of the gate talent, just coming into the cities, for example, Los Angeles, New York, Chicago, Atlanta. Those are all really, really helpful for newcomers. But then oftentimes a mid-size agency that has more agents involved, actually those mid-range agencies are going to get more calls because of the size of the agency. They know more people and they have access to more talent. And so that mid-range agency can oftentimes get more first dibs, so to speak, on some of those job opportunities that are out there. The downside for a mid-range agency, I think, is that you don't get the same kind of personal attention. It feels much more like you're getting submitted for things, you get an audition for things, you show up to the audition, hopefully you book the job, and then you go on to the next. Sometimes agencies in a mid-range size, they just don't simply have the time to spend a lot of personal time with that actor. You may not need it, but there is sort of a little bit more of a business sort of atmosphere where a boutique agency might feel a little bit more personal. Finally, the one size agency we haven't talked about is what I call the behemoth agencies. Those are the CAAs and the William Morris Endeavors, all of those behemoth agencies. They are celebrity oriented many, many times. They are large in size. They could be anywhere from, a couple of hundred agents to thousands of agents working at that agency. And so they have a very big, broad reach. And those agencies are great, right? I mean, they have the celebrity status. But you know what? If you're a newcomer, I would not necessarily shoot or high on getting a behemoth agency behind you, especially if you are a newcomer. But that's just my personal opinion. If there is something extraordinary about you and or you've booked something extraordinary, then you might be courted by those huge agencies. But that, in my view, that is nothing to really aspire to at the moment. Now, the other thing about what an agency can do for you is that they literally provide submissions for acting roles, and they provide opportunities that you wouldn't normally get if you were on your own, for example, or even sometimes with a manager. Some managers, and we'll get to this a little bit more in detail in a second, some managers don't get all of those calls. So getting submitted for a role, the agent will tell you that you've been submitted for a particular project. Then hopefully the agent is in a good position to get you an audition for that project. They help set up the audition, the time, the place, the materials, and you audition for those projects. And then if the casting or producer wants to hire you, they go through the agent, and that's how that happens. So now let's talk a moment about the role of the manager. The role of the manager is very similar in this respect, that they represent you in the industry. They are the gatekeeper of those job opportunities that are out there and taking care of you and your talent. Now, what you should know about the role of a manager is that there is actually no governing body to regulate or oversee the management. In essence, and I guess this is going to sound pretty negative, but it's not as negative as it might sound, but anybody can hang up a shingle and say that they're a manager. Now, as you can imagine, that poses some sort of challenges, right? You need to know and trust that person. You're putting your career and your future in the hands of somebody calling themselves a manager. You need to know that they're like the real deal and that they are there for sincere purposes to help you in a career. And sometimes you'll find some managers are not motivated by that. Some people call themselves managers or agents. They're not franchised, and they're selling you additional stuff. I would run away from those folks immediately. Anybody who's trying to sell you a new set of headshots or taking additional classes through them is frankly abhorrent for the professional arena. And I would not spend any time with those agencies. But I will say that there are many fantastic managers, and management is such a cool idea for so many talented people. Now, know that a manager can receive anywhere from 10, sometimes even to 25% or more sometimes. And that's because a talent that might be here's a great example, I think, is that you're an actor, but you're also a successful musician, or you're a successful writer, that you've got all of these talents going on. You might just benefit from somebody who's going to help you negotiate those opportunities for you. So that's kind of an important reason that a manager might be an excellent choice, especially if you've got a lot of irons in the fire, so to speak. One thing that's also useful to understand is that managers must use agents to negotiate union contracts. That's right. So if a manager has a union contract, I'm talking with air quotes now, legally, they are supposed to have an agent do the actual negotiating. Now, frankly, that doesn't happen. A lot of times the manager negotiates, but it is then put through an agent. But the rules are very, very clear, especially with only with union jobs, that if you're doing a SAG-AFTRA or an equity project, it is through a manager. The manager must go through an agency. So now that we've talked about what agents do and what managers do, let's talk about advantages between agents and managers. So agency advantages, first of all, there's direct contact for negotiating contracts and meeting casting directors. So a lot of agencies have a lot of contact with casting, and they are able to get you auditions and interviews much easier in many, many cases than some managers. Although they both are there to help you do that, to get you in front of the faces of those people that can help you. Sometimes agencies have a more direct contact and direct relationship. Wow, easy for you to say, Jeff. Let's move on. So agencies are clearly less involved in career development, although that varies. Less involved, meaning they're not necessarily there to help you with emotional decisions and day-to-day choices about being an actor, but they are there. Some agents really do enjoy working with actors on a personal level. So it's not I'm not trying to do a broad brush stroke here, but it's important to understand that various agents deal with that relationship to talent differently. And that's something for you to kind of investigate and feel good about. So it's also a great business model as long as you book the gig. Having an agent, like I said, is a great business model as long as you book the gig. What do I mean by that? Well, there are some agencies that really like to sign talent, and if you don't book something right away or something doesn't happen for you career-wise right away, then that agent might decide that this isn't working out and therefore drop the talent. Likewise, if you sign up with an agency and they're not sending you out and you're not getting auditions or jobs, then you have a window of opportunity, usually 90 days, to back out of that agreement. Now, having said that, there's absolutely no problem for most agents to want to work with you first before signing you. And that means that you're going to freelance with those agencies, have them represent you, have them take care of you when you book those jobs, but not necessarily a formal agreement that says you will work only through that particular agent. Now let's talk about manager advantages. First of all, clearly, as I alluded to, there's a lot of career development going on, especially when you have those multiple talents, that you're a songwriter, you're an author, you're a filmmaker, you're an actor, all of these things that are going on for you. If you've got a manager that is really interested in helping you grow and develop your career, that's an excellent manager for that talent. So managers can be extremely helpful and useful because they're there to help, here it is, manage your career. Also, clearly, along with that goes more personal interest and support that you would be getting from a manager that you often don't get necessarily with an agency. Also, managers are quite able to finesse negotiations for particular projects that you might be up for. They might be able to ask for and receive and get additional inside kinds of benefits for you that maybe an agent might not be able to negotiate for. I am reluctant to give you specific examples only because it varies from project to project, but managers that are smart, they really know what they're doing. They're going to definitely make sure that you are extremely well taken care of. So there's the advantage of a manager. So let's talk about the no representation argument. So why would you need an agent? Well, clearly it's not really necessary for you to have an agent for certain jobs. For example, if you have good relationships with regional theaters that are interested in hiring you on a regular basis, that's really and you love working at this theater, they love having you, then clearly there is no reason for you to have an expectation that an agent is going to make much of a difference in terms of those jobs or that relationship. Especially in regional theater environment where there's a nonprofit LORT regional theater, for example, the financial structure, all of that is pretty much established. There's not like more money to be gained for a lot of those kinds of jobs. So that would be a reason why, gosh, you really don't need to get an agent. Are there job opportunities that you hear about that you can submit for without an agent? Absolutely. Going to backstage.com or being closely tied with the opportunities that you're going to be seeing in Actors Access, for example, that you can submit stuff on your own. And many, many, many actors love doing that. Also, you might already have an established relationship with a casting director. So if you know that a casting director likes you and likes your talent and is going to bring you in, wow, isn't that great? You don't necessarily need an agent to help facilitate or grow that relationship because you're doing it on your own already. The other reason that you might not think that an agent or a manager is important for you because perhaps you really like the business aspect of managing or being an agent for yourself. You might enjoy the negotiations, for example. You might enjoy the business side of things. You might really like the idea of doing it on your own by pursuing those job opportunities that you're hearing about. And I guess in my mind, this is my opinion, there's kind of a hustle mentality that you have that you like. Then why would you need an agent? At least for now. Here's the thing. You might not need an agent or a manager right now, and that's okay. But in my opinion, an agent or a manager is probably going to be in your future as you grow in the industry. Now, having said that, I know many, many actors that love working at a particular regional theater. They get hired on a regular basis and they love their life. They love what's happening. They feel that that's successful for them. Then done and done. You would certainly not need an agent or a manager. But if your career is going further, if there's interest from outside of that arena where people are saying, gosh, you might be really right for this film I'm working on, or you have some ambitions that are there to grow your talent, that are going to help develop you and take you to other levels within the industry, then you know what? A representative is definitely going to be in your future. So now you know how talent representatives work. Now you know what it's like not to have an agent or a manager. I hope this podio has been helpful for you. You can decide now what is best for you. Please also know that once you make the decision, it's never permanent, and it's likely to change over many times during the course of a career. Thanks for listening. I'm Jeffrey Dreisbach, and this is Casting Actors Cast.
Casting Actors Cast is made possible with your support just by listening. Please like, share, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.